got a huge gap between like 1991 and 2001 almost. 10 years when we showed bikes. We're so rapid to cars, man. All the money was in cars.
Started the shop in '05. My primary objective was to, besides, create a little home for myself, I wanted to educate the riding public. For years, everyone said that everything that we had in racing was unobtainable, couldn't get it, that kind of thing. Of course, the dollar actually demands what you can get, but long story short is I wanted to educate the public and let them know this is what you're supposed to be doing. These are the services that should be being done.
Right.
That kind of thing. I wanted to, have people in here when I'm dynoing bikes so that they understand why we're charging them and what we're doing when we're in here.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a mystery. People are enthusiasts. They enjoy their bikes. Enthusiasts usually want to know if this was your commuter bike or your commuter car and you took it into the shop to get an oil change, you really don't care. It gets you from point A to point B.
Right.
Motorcycles are a passion, and I just wanted people to have a better understanding of their passion. The reflash on the Yamahas actually came about in a roundabout kind of way. On the Hondas, we have a couple of issues that are not as significant as the 2009-2010 R1, but it was things that were causing me grief for the general consumer. On the racing world, yeah, I can get the proper ECU, and yeah, I can get the proper things from HRC, and we can bypass all of that. Has a huge cost and obviously eliminates all the functions of a normal street bike / track bike. So that wasn't really an option working on the Hondas. In my quest to try and figure out how to get around all this stuff and fix all this stuff, a mutual friend put me in contact with a software guy and another young man, and we sat down and had a little meeting, and of course they were more familiar with the Yamahas, and they asked me if I would help them continue their development of that, and in turn they would go down the line and do Hondas and so on and so forth. So it ended up making a mutually beneficial business relationship that worked out really, really well, and hence the reflash of the ECU was born, and the demand has been high for it. The biggest drama with it is obviously it is a service where you send yours in and we send it back.
Right.
So it's not something that you put in a box and ship off. Well, obviously on the R1, which is what we're speaking of particularly here, there's quite a few benefits. There's the injectors actually shut off when you close the throttle, and so there's a lot of decel engine braking, and hence the reason why they use really, really stiff fork springs in these things stock. And so we allow the injectors to stay on. The closed loop function of it gets repaired, and so now it actually can be mapped properly. The throttle, as it is currently, around 11,200 RPM. The throttle blades, which act independent of the throttle tube, actually start to back down to about 82-85% of throttle opening, so you don't actually see 100% of throttle opening.
Okay.
So we've allowed that to come back into play, and as well there was a couple of errant holes in ignition timing maps to try and help keep riders safe.
Right.
And we have since put those back to the normal ramp that they should have been, so that the thing can accelerate better. Yamaha made a really, really good bike, and unfortunately, as anyone will tell you in this litigious society, there are certain things that you have to do to protect yourself, much like we have a page plus of a release. There's the legality side of it, and then there's the performance side of it.
Right.
And Yamaha made a great bike. It's a track bike. They function very, very well, but there's a few little issues that need to be fixed. Well, obviously, from a litigious standpoint, this is only available to track day riders and racers.
Okay.
It's not for on-highway use, because obviously we then tamper with the emissions abilities that have already been licensed for the bike. So, for the track day guy and for the racer guy, they're all going to benefit from it.
Right.
It accelerates better, it pulls all the way out, you don't have to short shift the bike anymore, it doesn't lock up the rear wheel or try to lock up the rear wheel on decel going into corners. It does a lot of things the way it was designed to do. There's a number of things. Some of them are emissions related, some of them are noise related, some of them are rider safety issues, and some of them are speed concerns.
Okay.
National Highway Traffic and Safety Board doesn't really want you to have a bike that goes 200 miles an hour straight off the showroom floor. So first of all, what I'll do is I'll do a base run map, or a base run dyno run, just to see where it's at. and then we'll go back and we'll map it, and then we'll do an after run as well, just so that we can compare the two maps.
All right, beautiful. Let's get started.